Awesome. Well, hey everybody, this is my great friend Angie, who I've known for I don't know how many years now, but a bunch now. And
Probably since I would say at least 2014.
exactly, so we're hitting almost a decade. So
Yeah.
that is actually really good. But yeah, she is a business owner, an entrepreneur in the area at Carolina Flips, if you can't see her shirt. So if you have anybody in gymnastics in the area that's interested, hit her up. But yeah, Angie, if you just want to tell a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, my 30-second pitch is we're actually gymnastics, cheerleading, tumbling. We now have ninja and parkour and aerial silks and lyra, which by the way, lyra is basically like a hoop. So if you're thinking of Cirque du Soleil, we actually have that, and it's for kids because most places it's just for adults, but we have it for the kids. So we've actually built up our business beyond just gymnastics for the families around Pineville and Valentine, South Charlotte, north side of South Carolina. So we have grown since 2014, and I always love to say we had 29 kids when we opened in March of 2014. Some of actually which are still with us today. It's been an awesome ride, and I will say, COVID was tough. It was tough, but it actually helped me to find the love of not only the sport and the determined staff that we had, but also when you're finding yourself in a really uncomfortable position, it forces you to change. And that was also a huge benefit of COVID for us, being that we're actually in a brand new facility. The building was built in 2020, and we were actually one of the very first tenants in here. So we have 25,000 square feet, and it's 28-foot clearance ceiling. So we've got plenty of space for everybody to stretch out and flip around. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. The ride, the funny thing is, we actually had our relationship through Carolina Sweat when you started working out there as a trainer. And I
lost some muscle since then.
I loved your energy every morning when I would come in and I just hear you going. I'm like, yes, like that's what I needed to hear that morning. But I will say it definitely went with the vibe of our gym. We're a positive environment. As you know, workout, gymnastics, cheerleading, it's a tough enough sport as it is that you don't need somebody harping on you. You need somebody with the right mindset to challenge you and push you, but love you at the same time, love you unconditionally, and know that you're wanting the best out of them and trying to get them to see that as well too. So that's where we also stand out as a gym, especially with kids. And I've loved it ever since. It's been a great ride. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you actually know this, but Carolina Flips actually started with kind of a little bit of revenge, like all right, I'm going to show them type thing. And that was my first drive. Yeah, that was my first drive. I had actually worked as a former owner at another gym, or I was a co-owner at another gym, and it didn't work out. And, that's okay. And actually I came to realize that I actually loved him for that opportunity of being pushed and challenged, because Carolina Flips wouldn't exist if he hadn't kind of shoved me out of the nest. So I will say I had some learning curve there, because I look at that 3 years as a co-owner as a paid internship. I basically learned what worked, what didn't. But, when somebody tells me, you're not going to be good at this, you can't do that, there's no way you can be a mom and run a business at the same time, that kind of lights a fire underneath me. And so I'm like, okay, I'll show you. So
I understand that.
It started that way, but in the long run, it helped me just find myself. And anybody that was an athlete, from 6 years old to 18 years old, you have a hard time finding who you are as a person. You just kind of stick on that pathway. So for me, my finding moment of myself was actually more in my 20s to 30s. A lot of people get to do it in college, but for me, I just kind of was the little quiet one, just sit back, take it all in. And just learning to listen to my gut and trust my feelings and my intuitions has really pushed me as the owner that I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm working more on listening to my gut, to be honest. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm not there yet, but definitely working on it for sure.
Don't get me wrong. I've listened to my gut sometimes. I'm like, oh, that was a bad idea. But you just chalk that up as a learning experience as well.
And then question for you, because you talked about it a little bit. You had mentioned COVID and that it helped y'all get stronger, get some staff in place. I know at least in real estate, there's downturns, which I feel like there's actually a downturn kind of ish right now. What made you decide hey, I am going to make this work instead of just closing up shop and just being I'm out?
For me, now I will say the beginning of COVID, it was a bunch of highs and it was a bunch of lows. The highs being, I knew I did not want to let our kids down. So I still remember March 16th, Monday, day one, we had virtual training the first day we were closed.
Yeah,
we already had our staff in place. We already had the Facebook Live going, and we didn't miss a beat. And that's because my passion, not only for the sport and everything that we do, but it's the kids. My passion has always been for kids. I love kids. They're so honest. They're so loving. And they'll tell you like it is as well. So for me, I didn't want to let them down. Being that I'm a mom, I have my own kids. So I wanted to make sure that they weren't affected while all this other stuff was going on that I had no clue, at that point, what are we really dealing with? Let's try to make sure that these kids don't feel any anxiety or frustration that we're feeling. Let's keep them on something and stay on track. So the COVID side of it, those were the highs, but then the lows being, you think you're doing the best you can as a business owner. You're like, okay, this is the policy we're going to do. This is the paperwork we're going to do. This is what we're going to follow. And trying to keep it fair and still trying to, have that human compassion and emotion, but still be able to pay the rent that the landlord is saying they absolutely need. And, seeing some of the ugliness in people, I think was the worst side of it. Everybody had their struggles, and everybody just, internally, how they handled their frustrations was really hard, because a lot of times as the owner, it got back on me, and it made me question well, am I doing something wrong? Am I not the fair and honest person that I always said I was? And so it just really hit me hard internally, to the point where I did notice, some depression as well too, because I'm one of those people. I'm a people pleaser. Yeah. I love to know if there's something that I can do better. I love constructive criticism. I love hearing, hey, this is where you failed. Great. Thank you for letting me know. So for me, it was just, it was really hard being some people are well, I'm going to sue you. You're awful. How dare you do this to our kids? There's no point in doing a virtual class. And so if anything, I took it in, I held it, I got frustrated, I got disappointed. But then I was like, listen, I can't please everybody. I got to that point where I'm just enough is enough. I can't please everybody. And for those people that I do know I'm helping, I'm going to keep pushing for them. I'm going to keep progressing. I'm going to keep doing better. And I think that was a side of me that would have never came out if it wasn't for COVID.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I guess you said, for the people that, really believe in you and you're helping, you're really helping them. So did COVID, and if this is not how you feel, definitely correct me, but do you feel like COVID helped you raise your standards or something? Or how do you think it, helped? I don't know.
I think COVID really, it put into light, like I said, the staffing issue, the staff that really stepped up and they were we're in it for the kids.
Yeah.
I definitely saw a change. Some people were just well, I don't want to come in. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do it. I'm okay, fine. The ones that were in it, I made sure that I stayed loyal to them since they were loyal to us. I actually paid everybody throughout the entire pandemic. Anybody that was willing to work and do virtual and, try to keep up on many hours as possible, we did a pet parade. We did virtual pet parades. Like we did more than beyond gymnastics. We had a talent show. I mean,
Yeah.
we were thinking completely out of the box, and a lot of it came from our staff. So, I actually stopped paying myself during COVID.
Yeah.
Continued to pay our staff that were showing up, shining, putting everything out there. So that kind of helped weed out the staff that really wasn't in it like I thought they were. So that was also a plus, in the long run as well too. But I think after weeding that out and seeing that passion shine, I really came to realize that we have something that most gyms don't. Like, we have phenomenal staff, we have phenomenal progression, we have phenomenal passion and love for what we do, and it's not just a job. I mean, shoot, I get to come in and work in sweats and my hair's back and gym time all the time. But I get to do what I love, and I think everybody that's now on the floor has really shown and shine everything that they love and have passion for with these kids in the sport.
Yeah, no, I like that. And then another question, because you, I know you said that you had stopped paying yourself and just paid your staff. I know you've been in business for a long time, and people always tell me in real estate, like, make sure you're saving because there's like, ebbs and flows. What did you do? I mean, you don't have to get in like the finance piece of it, but like, what did you do to make sure that if something like COVID did happen, or in the future something else happens, what'd you do to like put yourself in that position where you'd at least be okay for a little while?
Well, I was lucky enough to grow up with very tight-walleted parents. So I had always learned about just saving. So for me, and that was one of the things that helped me start up the business, is I would always have my paycheck and I'd have X amount go to savings and X amount go to normal expenses. And then I'd have Y amount go towards my overflow. So that's like my extra rainy day fund. Yeah. And so it's almost like as soon as one bucket fills up, okay, it's going to trickle into this next one. So I have more savings accounts than I do checking accounts, because I almost like give myself, okay, I've now saved up this limit. Okay, so it's trickling over and now I'm going to put it in this one. And of course, having kids, I definitely have ways to make sure that they're covered and trying to teach them the same things. But, credit cards, we have cashback credit cards. So I actually had saved up a lot of cash back that I actually used that to pay off some of the credit card debt during the whole COVID time. I called my mortgage company saying, hey, if we need to do a payment plan, can we? But it actually ended up not needing to. I was still, like I said, we were still able to bring in some money. There were some parents that were still open to virtual. We did have families that donated. I think we made about $15,000 in April through donations alone just for the gym, and that helped cover a portion of rent. So, we did have other ways to make sure that we were making ends meet. But I will say, because I'm personally such a saver, I've always made sure the business was set up that same way. It did help that we were in the process of 2016 trying to save up to buy land or build a building or something. So I had that nest egg there just in case. And that's what made me feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, I'm going to hold off on myself. I'm good personally. Like, I know I'm taken care of, but I don't know about my staff. So I'm going to make sure they're staying even. And that's kind of always been my mentality growing up, is just save. And, eventually it worked out in my benefit.
And then question too, because sorry, you saying something, it just keeps sparking something.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there's two type of business owners. One like you, where yes, you stopped paying yourself, you paid your staff. Other people, they would continue to pay their staff, pay themselves, not pay their staff. Why do you feel like you made that decision, like to pay them? And like, was that a mindset you always had, or is it like when you started a business, did you always like, hey, I'm gonna put my staff first, or like did that grow over time, or how did you come to that, like putting people first, I guess?
I will say, when it comes to staff, And I've told them, man, from our very, very first staff meeting I think we had in 2014 was, it does not say Angela Davis Gymnastics on our logo anywhere. People don't come for just me. They come for the whole gym, the whole field, the whole vibe, and everything that everybody brings. I mean, I tell my front desk staff all the time, you guys are the face and the voice, that you're the first experience everybody gets. And our purpose is to make sure everybody is experiencing the fun. So I have to make sure, I look at that as an investment of keeping the right staff here. And if that means paying them and me not paying myself, it's worth it. Because especially now, we didn't know even a year ago how hard it would be to staff and hire people. So the people I have know who I am as a person, know my integrity, know my honesty and fairness that I provide to them. And they really got to see the true side of who I am during those tough times.
See, and that makes sense. The reason why I asked is I figured you were going to say something like that because I have a coach, as I told you, and he always uses the analogy like there's some business owners that'll step over $1 just to pick up a dime. And I feel like you made like that long play where it's like, hey, let me take care of my staff because it's going to come back tenfold. Like, now they're probably staying at Carolina Sweat. I mean, not Carolina Sweat.
Carolina Flips.
Because they know you're going to take care of them. So I commend you on that. That's freaking awesome right there for sure.
Well, and, I will say some staff, they burned me afterwards, and, I see it as I did what was right at the time. Yeah. And you can't be like, well, they may jump ship and they may leave and go to another gym. Yeah, they may. I mean, shoot, a satellite can fall out of the sky. I'm not going to worry about the what ifs. I'm going to worry about the right now. And so that's something that I know, even talking to some other business owners, like they're always scared of, well, if I do this and then they leave, well, yeah, there's always that possibility. But what if they stay? You have to look at it in those regards as well too.
Then question 2, like what's because I'm assuming this has happened to you before, people burning you and things like that. In real estate, you get really close with the client and things like that. How do you handle when like people seriously do you wrong? Like how do you handle it without making it personal? Like what type of things do you do, I guess?
Yes, this has happened. I've come to realize, and I will say we do see a lot of this happen, especially right now, is the full year cheer season is over. The full year gymnastics competition season is over. And I have come to learn, this is just part of it, is sometimes people want to go and see what others are about. And I have to not take that personally. What I have to realize is today on Thursday, May 19th, 2022, I get to work with your child and with your athlete, and that is a gift.
I like it.
And leave it at that. And tomorrow, if they decide to leave our gym, I'm not going to love the child less. I'm not going to love the family less. What I'm going to realize is maybe they're looking for something else. Maybe it's something that I am not able to bring to the table, or maybe it's something they just want to see, and that's okay. There's times where we all go to the same restaurant every single Friday? I mean, some people do, but I know I don't. I jump around, and it's no less like I still think, Farmhouse is great to eat and Mod Pizza is awesome. And, I still think all these other restaurants are great, but it's okay to jump around. It's okay to go experience other things. And I've learned over time to not take it personally. And you know what the funny thing is? There are years that go by and then I see the athlete again and they're back in our gym. So I know I've done right, at least that time that they were here, where they had a good experience, that they had a positive experience to the point where they realized, hey, I want to go try it again. Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard to have that emotional side, but if anything, I take it day by day. I get to work with this athlete today and I love it, and it's a gift.
I like it. No, that helps out. And then again, you keep saying something, then it sparks something else. So something that I struggle with, my coach is giving me some advice. I want to see what your advice is. Because I know you work with, kids, adults, everyone. I like to help people. But sometimes I feel like I want it more than other people, or, that could be helping out another agent, or, if I'm trying to help someone get their credit right, and I'm like, just do X, Y, and Z, and, they won't even do X. And I feel like I want to help people, but they won't help themselves. Do you ever have that issue? Do you still keep helping? Do you only help the people who help themselves? What are your thoughts on that?
So one of the great tools that my mentor gave me was skill set, mindset, opportunity.
Yeah.
We all have a skill set. Okay. We bring a skill set to the table. We bring our own mindset to the table. We get it in our minds. This is how today's going to go. This is how it's going to be. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to pump myself up. I'm not going to break any habits. I'm going to keep pushing forward. So internally, if that's my mindset, that's how I'm going to go. Opportunity is how you're going to look at it. COVID, you can look at that in a million ways, but until you're saying, this is good, this is good, this is good, until you realize why it is good, you keep saying it. So everything is always an opportunity. A car crash is always an opportunity. I mean, it sounds very strange, but if you're looking at it in the right mindset, everything can be beneficial. So is it hard when I have an athlete who has amazing potential, amazing, but I mean, you see the gift in them and they just don't want to work, My job is I have to make sure, okay, am I getting you on track with your skill set? That one looks good. Am I getting you on track with your mindset? If I can at least try and coach them through that and give them ideas and give them thoughts and give them ways to change, it still has to be done internally. And that's where it has to go back on the person. So as long as I can say, I've done my part in helping out, I've done everything I can to get them to see it, but they have to be the ones to go through the door.
Makes sense.
It's frustrating. And I've seen it happen. It is frustrating, but that's when you say, I just have to step back. They have to figure it out themselves. I mean, I don't know if you remember during the whole workout days, when you're like, one more, and people just walk away. Nope, I ain't gonna do it.
Yep.
But then there are some people that are like, they hear one more and they're shaking and they're giving just one more, for that person, they get it. And you have to remember too, if you get that one person to get it, maybe it'll influence the next that walked away.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I like that. And then last question, then I definitely want to be respectful of your time, but I know you said you started with 29 people first.
29. Yep.
So what do you feel like is the biggest thing that helped you to grow from that, like 29 to where you are now? Man,
I get it. This is a service, but I always put it as we're in the people business. It's all about relationships. I've said from day one, my goal is not to try and get your kids to the Olympics. My goal is to get them to succeed and build character development throughout their whole life. Yeah. Because eventually Simone Biles is not going to be doing cartwheels, but the character development that you receive while you're here is going to come back tenfold. Yeah. So that's one of the great things, like our programs have always taught our kids, is how to be resilient, focus, determination. I mean, I can go on, but really opening the doors and inviting the parents to see that side of it as well too, and getting them to, hey, when you're at home, talk about focus, talk about what you focus on, not only in gymnastics, what did you focus on in school? How is focus being used in your daily life? So then that starts building the relationship between the kid and the parent and the coach, and then making it Carolina Flips family. I mean, that's what we are. We are a family. And just like every family, you've got your black sheep and everything like that, but we all love each other. Like, that's the thing. It goes back on love, and we understand like some people can flee the nest and come right back, and that's perfect too.
Oh yeah, I like it. Well, and then very final last thing, I definitely appreciate you joining us. If there's somebody that's like, hey, I love everything that Angie's talking about, and I want to come to Carolina Flips, how can they reach you, or a website, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so our website is Carolina Flips, CarolinaFlipz as in zebra.com. So that's our website. And then our phone number, 704-544-4511. I will say we're kind of tucked back away here off of Industrial Drive. We're now over here off of Pineville Distribution Street. Kind of like a hidden gem for Charlotte right now, but we are back here, and I will say it's so gorgeous back here. We've got some great trees. I've seen baby geese walking across our sidewalk. It's very pleasant back here, but we do have parents that enjoy, taking little runs and strolls around our area too. But feel free to contact us. Like I said, we've got our amazing front desk staff that can help answer any questions you have. And don't forget, we also do have summer camps. Our summer camps are amazing this year. I'm so excited.
Oh, and then real quick, just for myself, do you do like 1 week at a time, or you have to sign up for all 8 weeks, or how does it go?
Nope. So we have multiple weeks going on. Our first one is Nerf Ninja. So I know the boys are really getting excited about that one. So we've got that one going on. We start June 6th, that first week, and then we go all the way till I think it's like middle of August. So yeah, we've got about 9 weeks. We are closed that 1 week of 4th of July week, but yeah, we've got multiple weeks, and you can just kind of pick and choose which theme week you want to do.
That is awesome. Well, you might be hearing from me, but again, want to be respectful of your time. So I definitely appreciate you joining us. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess I'll talk to you later, but I definitely will probably message you about that. So
perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Joel. I enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you, Angie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.